Welcome back to New to Medical Device Sales. I am your host, Jacob McLaughlin, and today I'm bringing a very special guest, one of our own New to Medical Device Sales members who is able to break into medical device sales at over six figures at the age of only 24. But the thing about this guest is he only had an associate degree, so he didn't have the 4-year degree that you all hear that you need. So before we go and brag him up too much more, we're going to let Mr. Garrett Cranford come onto the stage. Garrett, welcome to the show, buddy.
Oh man, I'm super excited to be here.
Super excited to have you, man. It's always one of those fun moments, right? When we get a talk and it's like, hey, you get started, you're like, hey, hopefully I can come in and break into the industry. And now here you are at over six figures and you are now talking to us on the podcast. So it's always a fun time.
Yeah, beyond blessed. I'm very happy that I was able to join your program and just make it a success for sure, man.
Yeah, man, I'm super proud of you. And so what I always do, as you guys know, is Garrett, just tell us a little bit about you, about who you
Yeah,
are, where you're from, how old you are, all that good stuff.
yeah, man. So I'm 24 years old. I'm from Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Um, I've lived here pretty much my whole life. We moved to Texas when I was little, but we ended up coming back to Alabama. I've been here ever since. I grew up playing basketball, loved it, and ended up going to radiology school. I did that for 2 years and was able to be accepted into a program that only took 20 people. They had like 200 applicants for that. I was very fortunate enough to, get into that. I've done that for 2 years, and in that job, I'm always in surgery. And that's what really, struck my interest for medical device sales. And when I came across your podcast, man, I was just blown away by like what you've been able to do with so many different people. I reached out to you, was, super excited about getting on a call with you. And do you remember when we got on that call and I told you, hopefully one day I'll be on your podcast?
Oh yeah, I
It's just,
remember it.
man, it's just crazy that it came full circle.
Yeah, man. Well, dude, that's what happens when you just talk it in. And the reason I just love your story, man, is a couple things. A, you not having that 4-year degree, right? That everyone's going to tell you need. Also, you coming from Alabama. Funny enough, man, I was just on with a CEO and he was like, I was trying to get hired anywhere. Like, out of nowhere, Idaho, like even Alabama. And I was like, yeah, we actually just got the guy hired in Alabama, right? So just I absolutely love being able to talk about, what you've done, what you've accomplished and how young you are, man. You should be really proud of yourself. But like, can you just kind of talk about, hey, you were a radiology tech. What did that transition of like, when did you start looking at med device sales? Why med device sales? Can you kind of talk about that for a little bit?
Yeah, man. So for when I started radiology, I got my year's experience, and at the time, I knew I wanted to do travel contracts because I wanted to put myself in that higher percentage of earners for what I did. And I've done travel contracts for over a year now, and have enjoyed it. Love going to different facilities, learning different things like that. But I noticed in those contracts, like just being in surgery, that was my favorite spot. And I seen reps in the room, doing what they did, but at the time, I didn't know what it was, had no clue. And I seen your podcast on YouTube and kind of got to, looking it up and trying to figure out what all their job consists of. And dude, I don't know if anybody's told you, but you're so motivational, man. And like you had me ready to run through a wall when I watched your podcast. So, when I got to looking at that, I was like, let me reach out to this guy and see what this is about, because at first, I honestly, I was pretty skeptical. I didn't know,
Yeah.
anything about it. I got to talking to a few reps in surgery and, getting a better understanding of what they did. So I took it a little bit more serious. I watched tons of your podcasts before I even reached out to you. And I wanted to make that next step because honestly, these travel contracts, they were getting really scarce, like in my area. And I couldn't go back to the regular salary that I was at, especially now, recently engaged. Trying to, start a family eventually down the road. I wanted to have something, more stable for me and something that I could change somebody's life.
Yeah, man. And that's the biggest thing. And that I love that, man. That's why it was so fun getting on a call with you the first time and just being able to, hear where you're at, your goals. Like you said, you're recently engaged. So congratulations.
Appreciate it.
Honestly, man, still remember getting the picture. And just so you guys know, that's what I truly just love about this course and being able to do it. It's like we become people's part of their lives, and being able to like have you send me that means the world, man. Like knowing that I'm one of the human beings you thought to share that with, it's cool. So again, just watching you go and continue to get better. And yeah, like you said, man, like this is an industry, you started reaching out and networking, and it was like, hey, what the heck's going on? But can you kind of just talk about your interview process and what it was like for you? Because again, you did have a couple different interview processes. You and I got on multiple calls, and I had to give you a couple times of encouragement and just be like, hey, like this is what we're doing. Don't let this beat you up too much. And so you just want to talk about like, hey, you got in the course, started helping you started networking, you got into interviews. And then what was that kind of like for you?
Yeah. So, well, with the first interviews, like you talk about, they're not going to go perfect. I haven't interviewed for anything since radiology school. So, of course, I was nervous going into those first interviews, but, I didn't, get those first ones, but I happened to make one of those follow-ups that we talk about all the time. And I was able to be brought into an interview process the next week. It was so quick. This company in particular was looking to start their training process at the end of this month. They're like, you seem like a great guy. You have a great story. Let's bring you in and, see what you're about. And I had that in-person interview. It went really well. Then I went with another interview online. It was a virtual one, and finished up with two last virtual interviews. So mine was actually shorter than your typical interview process, just for the fact that they were starting training. They had to have me hired by a certain date, but it was very fast. And, I came prepared because of this program.
I love it, man. Well, the one thing I'll just say is, as you guys hear all the time, is like, we say 5 to 7 interviews. That's why we don't say specific, is like every company's different. It also, like you said, matters when they're trying to hire. They'll speed up, they'll throw stuff out. Like there's all the different ones. And what I always tell people, and what I want to even just talk about you for a second is, I always tell people in my program, hey, you don't got to get ready if you stay ready. Right. And like that was one thing about Garrett and what he did and why he stood out to these people, was because he didn't have to worry about getting ready. He been in the program, he had done his homework, and he knew what to do. But like, again, then you went in, you absolutely closed it, crushed it, and then got an offer at over 6 figures, which just the best, man. Like, it's also awesome to see you at 24 years old, Alabama, engaged. Like, now you're making over 6 figures. Like, life is freaking good. But, can you speak to, I know you said you were a little skeptical, right? You see this guy online, and guys, I get it. Like I understand, especially now. There's a bunch of random people who are trying to do it. They have no results. Now they're just like, they see what we do. They literally steal our numbers, or they try to like be like, oh, we're the same price or whatever. And you guys are like, I don't know what's real or not because you just found out about this. First off, all I try to do is put out free stuff and video testimonials and things for everybody else, like Garrett making a testimonial. You go watch it on our website, make these podcasts so you can see these are real human beings we actually work with to show you it works. But I know it can be like, hey, this sounds too good to be true. I can come into a company or come into a program. They actually are going to work with me, help me, and then I'm going to get hired. I'll make over 6 figures. And like, are you serious? Like, I know it took a lot for you to be like, hey, I was a little skeptical and now I'm in the program. Now you're on the other side of it, right? Can you just kind of talk to that person who might have been in your shoes or where you were, and like, what made you even consider the program? What made you actually sign up for it? And what did you actually learn inside of it? Well, like, what was your biggest takeaway for you?
Yeah. So with me, as far as like being skeptical in the beginning, the biggest change for me that made me decide that this is the real deal was when me and you got on that one-on-one. I mean, me and you got on there for about an hour talking, and we talked about the goals and what, amount of money could change my life, things like that. That's when I was like, you know what, this guy's for real. Like, let's try it. I'm going to put in the work, like he says. And if you're wanting to come into this program and not work, then yeah, it might not work for you. But
Exactly.
Of course, you've got to come in and put in the work. I talked to over 80 or 90 people in this process and probably sent 1,000 messages. Like, just waiting on that one person to give you a yes is, for anybody that is discouraged or anything, it just takes one.
Yep.
And really what I took the most out of this program was the networking and the coaching calls, the mock interviews. The mock interviews is what helped me the most. And I wasn't able, like, I have a crazy schedule. I wasn't able to attend a ton, but you're able to go watch them back. And I watched them back and took so much value from those videos. And I think that's what got me through this process. And, just that sample business plan that you give us to go out and rock in the interviews, they loved it. They ate that up during the interview. I think that's what really put me over the top.
Yeah, man. I just, I'm laughing because I just had right on my drive over here to the office. I just had one of our other members literally just got an offer, and he literally was like, the manager talked about the business plan for 15 minutes and was like, "Did you do ChatGPT? Where'd you get this? All right, who'd you steal this from?" So, no, man, it does make a big difference. And again, I always tell people like this program won't work if you don't do the work, right? You come in and you just do nothing. It's not me just hand you a job, right? Because you got to come in and do the work because guess what you got to do once you're in the industry? Like now you got to do the work. Now that you're hired, Garrett, like you're now going to do the work, right? So it's just prepping you guys to come in and actually have success. But like what I'm so proud to be able to talk to is our program now on average is getting people hired at over six figures, right? We're now no longer the program of like, hey, do you want to break into my device sales? Great. There's literally 12 people that are saying they do that, which I can just sit here and tell you. Funny how they have no testimonial videos or they have two or three. And just so you guys know, fact check them because half those people didn't even pay for their program and they just asked them to have it done for free. Well, you just say you took my program, right? So the reason I'm just sitting here telling you guys that is because that's all I want to do is continue to help you. But we're now the program. We get our people hired in 8.5 weeks. We've helped over 2,000 people. And as of 2024, people are getting hired in 8.5 weeks at $105,502. Like Garrett's above that. Like it's awesome. It's freaking the best. And that's what I just want you guys to know is you have to come and do the work. And so Garrett, that's what's really cool about you. Now, one thing I always like to ask people is like, again, man, you're 24. You didn't have the degree that everyone's going to say you need the degree. You got to do this.
Mhm.
And also, like, you're in Alabama, right? You're not in LA and all this stuff. Can you just kind of speak to some of those challenges that you might have, like, hey, people telling you you can't do this or you need to go get B2B sales or whatever that was? Can you just kind of speak to that for a second? So, because I know someone's going to be able to relate to that.
Yeah, so it was really challenging as far as like my area, and Alabama is not the biggest place. We don't have tons of hospitals to work, so there's not as much business. You're not really going to get a job unless somebody moves up in positions or they quit. So like, I was able to get this position in Chattanooga, Tennessee, which is only 3 hours from my hometown. So it wasn't a big move for me, but like just being patient was the biggest thing for me with this. But like I said, you're not going to get those jobs unless somebody quits. And a lot of the companies for me were like, I made like a ton of good relationships, but they all came back to that degree. They're like, you need the 4 year, you need the 4 year, you need the 4 year. Well, one company didn't. They just overlooked that. They took my experience, my radiology experience, and just thought I would be a great fit.
And that's what I just want you guys to hear because that's the big thing is like, you just need that one company, right? All these other companies will do it. And again, this is just proof that like, yeah, you don't have the perfect resume. You don't have exactly what they're looking for. But if you can show that to do the job, to get the job and actually come in and do what they're looking for, it can make a huge difference. So I just want to tell you, I'm proud of you, man. Now, the one thing I always like to ask people as we go through this process is, there's going to be people who be like, Garrett, tell me, what's your advice to me, right? Like what could be your advice if someone reaches out to you? Like what advice can you give someone who's like really wanting to break into medical device sales?
If you really want to break in, I think you just need to come in with a positive attitude every day, especially in this program. It's a lot, but it works. And you don't need to go through the program. If you get the program, you don't need to just do it one time. You need to go through those modules over and over and over. Look and listen to what Jacob says. Everything you need to break in is in there. And I really think that with the calls, just you guys being so personable with everybody in the course is what makes the biggest difference.
I appreciate that, man. And this biggest thing for me is like, again, I just like yesterday, we're talking to one of our members and like to see how far he's come in life. It makes me emotional. It's like, I truly love this. I truly love helping you guys because again, just right before this, right? I'm talking to a guy who's been in 2 exits. One of the exits was 5.6 billion that they got bought out for, right? It's like, so I'm talking to the CEOs that are there and he was a rep too. And then it's like me on a call with you guys. And it's like, I was where you were. Right. And now I'm here. And now it's like, I've had the $50,000 commission checks. I want you guys to experience that. Right. And then it's like, oh, then you go meet like that CEO. And he's like, oh, we dropped $4 million or millions of dollars on stuff and it didn't even work. And it's like, well, geez, you're a whole nother level too. Right. So it's just like continuing just to always give back and be with people. But I want you guys to know is like truly do care about you because like, again, when I talk to Garrett, it's like I see someone who's in my shoes and like, man, you're a young dude, you're hungry, you're about to be married, like you're starting your family, you're got now in a career that you're going to be able to produce for you and your family. And it's the freaking best, man. So it's like, I just want to tell you congratulations. And also for you betting on yourself, because I know it can be scary to come into a course, come into a program and be like, oh, I'm going to do the work. And there's always that doubt. What if I'm the one person, right? And that's the one thing I'll just talk to real quick is every single person I get on a call with, they're like, what if I'm the one human being it doesn't work for? Right. And then I just show them the hundreds of testimonials and I show them the podcast. Right. And I'm like, yeah, that could be you if you just quit and do not do it. Right. But if you're actually just going to put in the work and then you don't give up and you do what we say, it's going to be a good turnout for you. And so I just want to tell you, man, congratulations, because it's been so cool to watch you change your own life. And now knowing that this is just the beginning from where you're going to go and you're starting your life, it's cool. And at 24 years old, man, making six figures, life don't suck. And it's going to suck. So just want you to know I'm super proud of you. Keep crushing it. And just thank you so much for taking time to just share your journey with people, because I know it's going to make a big difference to them.
Yeah, man. I really appreciate you bringing me on, and I'm super excited to get this journey started.
Yeah, you're going to absolutely crush it, man. And if you guys are watching, press that like and subscribe button. A 5-star review helps us grow this channel. If you guys are wanting to be like Garrett, you want to break in at over six figures and come in and learn how to be successful in med device sales, click the link below. We're always happy to schedule a call with you guys so you can learn more about what we do and how we do it. Also, you can follow me on LinkedIn at Jacob McLaughlin, new to medical device sales. Like Garrett said, I just love connecting with you all. I love being able to hear your guys' story, talking to you all. And again, nothing makes me happier than getting on an original call with Garrett. And he's like, this is what I want to do. I want to break in. I want to make six figures and I want to be on your podcast. And here we are. And it's all happened. So it's the absolute best. But I hope you guys keep on crushing it. You guys feel free to reach out to us and we'll see you on the next one. Peace.